Good evening, I'm Annabelle Tiffin. Welcome to North West Tonight. Our top story, 19 years in prison for the drug-dealing police officer caught after he dropped a bag of cocaine outside a primary school. He stole £400,000 worth of drugs from a police storeroom. Also tonight, families' anger as a hotel that provides vital holidays for disabled people is forced to close. The decision's blamed on rising costs and council cuts. Underwater and under pressure, the fight to restore the vanishing seagrass meadows on the Cumbrian coast. Find out why a suburban station on Merseyside is in the race to become the country's station of the year.
Show me your hoodie.
The best team in the world.
That is disgraceful.
Meet the proud Preston North End superfans turned social media superstars.
And we had some pretty decent sunshine, especially earlier on today, and temperatures got up above the average. The weekend, however, is looking quite mixed. Sunny spells on Saturday, wet and windy on Sunday. Join me at the end of the programme for all the details. A serious crime squad detective who stole £400,000 worth of cocaine from a police store and sold it to criminals has been jailed for 19 years. Greater Manchester Police has described Andrew Talbot's behaviour as the worst example of corruption for many years and an abhorrent betrayal of the public's trust. He was finally caught after he accidentally dropped a wrap of cocaine as he walked into his daughter's primary school. Yunus Muller is at Liverpool Crown Court for us this evening. Yunus.
Annabelle, Andrew Talbot had a career spanning more than 2 decades for Greater Manchester Police's Serious Crimes Division, but it all began to unravel for him when he dropped a bag of cocaine outside his daughter's primary school. When staff at the school looked at CCTV, they discovered it was the 54-year-old, and GMP, the anti-corruption unit, were called in. Their investigation found that he'd gone into the property store more than 30 times. He'd come back out with what they described as pocketfuls of cocaine, a street retail value of around £400,000, a total of 4 kilograms of cocaine, which was then supplied. Well, today, Greater Manchester Police gave this reaction to the 19-year sentence he was given.
This is one of the most shocking cases of corruption uncovered by Greater Manchester Police's anti-corruption unit. Talbot unlawfully used police systems and was conspiring with a local drug dealer to add further crime and fear into our communities. There is no place in policing for Talbot or anyone else like him who cannot be trusted to uphold the law and keep our streets safe.
So, Yunus, can you tell us more about Talbot's relationship with a known drug dealer?
Away from the drugs offences, what he also did was to search a confidential police system more than 50 times to find the names of known or suspected drug dealers that he could supply those drugs to. He also passed on confidential information to a man called Keith Bretherton, a convicted dealer who wanted that information to track down people who owed him drugs money. Bretherton was given an 8.5-year sentence.
Untold damage has been caused, but the work of officers like those in the anti-corruption unit and the wider force, who do a fantastic job on a daily basis, will hopefully go some way to reassuring the public that we can root out these officers.
Andrew Talbot had said that he was addicted to cocaine. That happened because of the pressures of the job, and he spoke specifically about one investigation, the Anthony Granger investigation, in which an unarmed man was shot dead in a car park in Colchester. The police were criticised for that. He said following that, the pressure of the job led to his addiction. Now, the judge here today at Liverpool Crown Court said the suggestion that he would steal 4 kilograms of cocaine for personal use was ridiculous.
Yunus, thanks very much. The family of a disabled man from Bolton say they're shattered that the Respite holiday home he's been visiting for decades is to close at the end of next month. The charity that runs the Sandpiper Centre in Southport on Merseyside says the financial challenges it faces have become insurmountable. Now disabled people across the North West say they face a future with nowhere comparable for them to go. Andy Gill reports.
I don't think you'd want museum and galleries, do
Oh,
you?
no.
At home in Bolton today, mother and daughter Anne and Louise Dixon read through a brochure for the Sandpipers Centre. For nearly 40 years, it's provided a place where disabled people can go on holiday to give their carers some time to themselves. And visitors like Louise, who has cerebral palsy, have loved it.
Very permanent. Because I want to get away from my sweet mum. and just enjoy myself, going in the pool for my leg.
Sandpipers is close to the marine lake in Southport. Usually local councils covered most of the costs of a visit, with families paying the rest. When we filmed there last year, the charity Revitalise, which runs it, was already warning about financial pressures. Now it says the whole charity will close next month. It means carers like Anne face a more limited future.
It gives me time to go and browse in a bookshop or go to a library or, just go to various places. And I can't do that if Louise is with me, because Louise wouldn't like that. It wouldn't, it wouldn't be good.
Guests at Sandpipers enjoyed entertainment and activities. This video is from Darren Hanley, who's also from Bolton and who also has cerebral palsy. Sometimes he'd go several times a year.
Really important.
Why?
Because, because it gives me independence.
No one from Revitalise was available for interview, but in a statement it said the financial challenges we face have become insurmountable. The breaks we provide will now be beyond the reach for the majority of our guests. It remains our lasting hope that policymakers take heed of the critical state of affairs in the social care sector and ensure that Respite is properly funded.
It's quite shattering for all of us, really, to have got that news.
An online petition aimed at raising funds for the charity has more than 3,000 signatures. Andy Gill, BBC North West Tonight.
Let's get some of the day's other news. And police say a crash on the M6 in Cumbria that killed 5 people may have involved a car travelling the wrong direction down the motorway. A man and a woman from Glasgow, Yaroslav Rossa and Jade McEnroe, and 2 boys aged 15 and 7, and another boy in the car was seriously injured. The driver of the other car, a man from Cambridgeshire, was also killed. 4 people have been injured after a tram and a bus collided in Manchester city centre this afternoon. The Piccadilly Gardens area was sealed off to allow the air ambulance to land. Emergency crews had to cut 1 passenger free. Transport for Greater Manchester say road closures are still in place and tram and bus passengers could face disruption. Now, 2-year-old Awab Ishak died in a home riddled with toxic mould. The tragedy prompted a national outcry and a call for new measures to tackle the problems of substandard rented properties and rogue landlords. Greater Manchester is now boosting the number of housing inspectors to cope with the rising demand for their services. Mairead Smith went out with one of the teams today.
Inspection day for one shared house in Rusholme in Manchester. Joe is leading today's inspection for Manchester City Council.
But the strips are painted over, so they need to be replaced. Like there used to be a lock there, so that needs to be filled. And also this is just single glazed glass, and because...
Some minor breaches have been picked up in this property today, but as long as the landlord addresses the issues, this home can remain on a 5-yearly assessment. But the demand for inspections has increased vastly on other homes and flats following the tragic death of Awab Ishak. 2-year-old Awab Ishak died because of unacceptably poor housing conditions in his socially rented home in Rochdale. His death led to Awab's law, which sets a legal deadline for landlords to fix serious health hazards. And Awab's death has increased demand on inspection teams. To help, new enforcement apprentices who graduated today will join teams in each of the 10 boroughs of Greater Manchester. Holly trained with the team in Stockport.
Some of the conditions that I've seen are just horrendous, so I think our role is just so important.
Can help people, ensure that I'm actually making a change and not just sitting back and watching.
The apprenticeships have been funded by the Greater Manchester Combined Authority and comes as the area prepares for the government's Renters' Rights Bill and the UK's first Good Landlord Charter.
We, the public bodies of Greater Manchester, are now going to get much tougher at housing enforcement. And here's the big message from today. The days, and it goes to landlords, the days of renting out homes that damage the health of the residents inside, drag down communities, are coming to an end.
Patrick trained in Rochdale, where Awab Ishak died. He wants to be part of a team that helps to raise living standards for all.
I would want to make positive changes, positive difference in people's lives by improving their housing. A house does not make a home until it's safe.
Mairead Smith, BBC North West Tonight, Manchester.
Now, seagrass is one of our most valuable habitats and plays a huge role in combating climate change, but it is declining rapidly. The region's biggest seagrass meadow is on Walney Island, where it's thought it's reduced by 70% over the past century. Well, now there are urgent efforts to try to restore it. Here's our environment correspondent, Judy Hobson.
Seagrass is found in shallow coastal waters and is one of the most valuable habitats on the planet. It covers less than 1% of the sea floor and yet stores almost 80% of the ocean's carbon. But we're losing it at a rapid rate. This seagrass meadow on Walney Island is the size of 63 football pitches. That sounds a lot, but it's 70% smaller than it was a century ago. The Wildlife Trust is trying to restore it.
What we're picking are the spathes, so they're kind of seed pods. We're just trying to get as many seeds as we can so that when it comes to replanting them into an area that doesn't have seagrass at the moment, we'll have the best chance of bringing it back to that area. The seagrass itself is really quite fragile, so what we're trying to do is spread our weight so that we don't do damage to it while we're collecting the seeds.
The restoration of seabeds is in its infancy, and not much is known about this intertidal species called Noltii.
It's declined partly because of a wasting disease, partly because of water quality issues, and there's also other kind of disturbance issues, so things like boat anchoring will also impact the sediment and erode it.
Next year, the team will trial different methods of replanting the seeds, including injecting them back into the sediment or using Hessian bags.
We've got a few different methods that we'll trial, and we'll plant it out in spring. And then next summer we'll be able to monitor the different methods that we're using and find out which works best, and then kind of try and use that to upscale restoration effort.
For a long time now, we've ignored intertidal ecosystems and habitats as being important, and people are starting to recognise how amazing seagrass is for things like blue carbon, for the biodiversity it provides to our seas, for the protection that it provides us along our coastlines. There's many reasons that we should care about it and that we should start to work to protect it.
After a couple of hours, the team are on the move, looking for a new area to harvest. They'll remain out here for the rest of the day.
It's not the worst fieldwork I've ever done. It's not raining, so that's definitely a plus. No, I'm quite comfortable, yeah.
Judy Hobson, BBC North West Tonight, Walney Island.
Incredible, isn't it? They're just doing it like that. By hand. Right, we're going to the theatre now. Back in 1924, a group of amateur dramatic enthusiasts in Wilmslow, I'd be no good on the stage, would I? They staged a play, Nothing But the Truth. The play might have faded into obscurity, but the Amdram Society didn't. This year, the Green Room Theatre in Wilmslow celebrates its 100th anniversary, and Kaylee Watterson has been along.
Do you love me?
Of course I do.
Say it. Do you say it?
I love you, Daphne.
Rehearsing for their next performance, as actors at this group have done for a century.
Well, not for my sake, darling, but for yours, you see.
This time, it's Noel Coward's Present Laughter. The Green Room Theatre in Wilmslow is one of the oldest amateur dramatic societies in the country. Belinda and David are some of the longest-standing members. They've both been involved for 60 years.
My parents, a bit like yours, I suspect, said, you've got to get a job before you... so that's what I did.
Yes. Now, my mother said to me, fine, if you want to be an actress, that's great, but please take a secretarial course first, so you can always fall back and you've got some way of earning money. And I did that, and I joined the green room, and I got all the acting I ever wanted.
Meanwhile, Tim, who is playing the lead in the next production, is one of the younger members of the society.
What I really like about it in particular is because, well, particularly with the lack of funding in the arts at the moment, it's theatres like this and across the country where people can come and learn a broad range of skills they wouldn't get anywhere else. And it's not just acting, it's set design, it's costume, it's hair, it's makeup, it's stage management, and you can learn all of that at your local theatre.
Over their 100-year history, they've put on almost 500 productions. They've been based in their current home for 40 years. So this theatre is a lot bigger than it looks from the outside, so come in and have a look. So we're here in the main theatre space. You can see we've got the stage where everyone's setting up, ready to go, and all the seating around. But it's not just this area here. Let's go and have a look and see what we can find backstage. This is a real treasure trove they've just shown us in here. This is their dressing room with costumes. Costumes as far as the eye can see, beautiful dresses from all eras. It goes all the way back here and it goes all the way back there behind Elliot, the cameraman. You can see all the different outfits they have for all the plays they put on. This is the workshop where they build all the sets, all the props they use. So they've been in this building since the 1980s. So obviously in that time, they've stocked up on lots of supplies, lots of parts and lots of accessories, which they can use for all their upcoming plays. The group say it's not just about the productions, it's about the people.
Somebody said what was the word one word I would use to describe the green room, and I said friendship.
Yes, and I said family.
The theatre's centenary celebrations start this week. Kaylee Watson, BBC North West Tonight, Wilmslow.
I'm not a child. I'm 20.
Congratulations on their anniversary. Plenty of drama this weekend with the resumption of the Premier League after the international break. Stuart Pollard is here this evening and we're looking at the contrasting fortunes, I suppose, Stuart, of two managers, aren't we?
Absolutely, Annabelle. Yeah, they're both Dutch, they're both bald, but that's where the similarities do end at the moment for Erik ten Hag at Manchester United and for Arne Slot at Liverpool. One seems to be permanently scratching his head to find a solution, the other enjoying a hair-raising start to life in the Northwest. We'll come to Slot shortly, but first, Ten Hag came out fighting today after surviving the sack during the international break. United host Brentford tomorrow, and the Dutchman insists all the speculation about his future is wide of the mark.
The noise is only coming from the media, from you guys. For some of you, let's say this, not all of you, but some of you who bringing up stories, creating fairy tales, making the noise, bringing lies, because I know we are on one page in this club.
It's a different story at Anfield. In fact, Liverpool have scored more goals at Old Trafford than Manchester United in the Premier League this season. Arne Slot has enjoyed 9 wins in his first 10 games following a seamless transition so far from the Jurgen Klopp era. I've been gauging the feeling amongst the Liverpool supporters and getting an insight into Slot's success from his native Netherlands.
Arne Slot! La, 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 la.
Jurgen Klopp left bellowing the name of his successor. Now the entire COP is singing the praises of Arne Slot.
I just think he's just a sensible, pragmatic, and yes, I couldn't be more excited about the future.
I was pretty confident at the start also, but I think so far so good.
No Liverpool manager, not Shankly, not Dalglish, not even Bob Paisley could match the early impact of Arne Slot. Yes, the fixture list has been kind, but initial uncertainty has now given way to excitement among fans here at Anfield and in the Netherlands.
I've not known a time in their history where Dutch people wanted to travel to Liverpool as much as at the moment. Everybody's asking for tickets.
We come from Eindhoven, so the city in the south of the Netherlands, and we come here to watch the Liverpool game with my dad and my son.
What do you make of Arne Slot? How's he doing? He couldn't have been much better.
Yeah, perfect start, so I think he's
Almost
happy.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Almost perfect.
So I think they will love him like we did.
This Dutch journalist has followed Slot's managerial career from the very start.
I'm not surprised about Arne Slot's great start. Why? Because his style of coaching, the way his teams play, what I've seen of him in the Netherlands, in Europe, in the Champions League, at every different level, has impressed me more than any other managers over the last 4 decades.
This weekend sees a clash with Chelsea, one of the toughest games so far for the new boss.
I think we have to judge us as a team after this spell of games, not 3 of them, but 6, 7 or 8 of them. Then we know better how we act and how we perform if we play tough Champions League games and tough league games.
So far, so good then for the slot machine. But can the Reds hit the jackpot come the end of the season? Well, Sale Sharks can go top of Rugby Union's Premiership if they win at Northampton Saints this evening. Sharks have won 3 of their opening 4 matches of the season. Tonight will be a good test of their credentials, though, against last year's champions. Good news for Lancashire cricket fans today after Saqib Mahmood signed a new contract with the county. The fast bowler has been with the Red Rose since he was 15. Mahmood has struggled with back injuries in recent seasons but has now signed a 3-year deal to play limited overs cricket with Lancs. Now, let's meet 2 proud Preston North End fans who will take absolutely no prisoners in defence of their team. The little pair, Cairo and Callie, had hundreds of thousands of views on social media after this encounter with a Leeds fan.
What's that hoodie? Show me your hoodie.
The best team in the world.
That is disgraceful.
Your team's disgusting, mate. Your team's disgusting, mate. Which team needs what? Blackpool Rovers also, mate.
Leeds United, don't know.
Rubbish. That's rubbish. It's rubbish.
After that encounter, Graham Liver was desperate to get them on his Radio Lancashire show. So let's see how Cairo and Callie got on when confronted with a Blackburn Rovers supporter.
Hello?
What t-shirt's that?
What do you mean? What's that you're wearing?
That t-shirt's just a disgrace.
Disgrace?
It's Blackpool Rovers.
There's not Blackburn.
Answer the question what I told you then.
What? So what? How much money have I got?
Yeah.
Wait, enough.
How much? You have to give me some.
How much am I paid?
30 quid or something.
30. Yeah, 30 quid a week. I'm on. Would you be happy with 30 quid a week?
No, rubbish.
Graham's had a pay rise, 30 quid a week, but you wouldn't want to take on those 2, would you, Annabelle?
No, it's quite terrifying, aren't they?
Absolutely.
Totally roasted by those kids, wasn't he?
I know,
poor
let's
Graham?
never invite them in here because we've got no chance against those 2, have we?
Definitely not. Oh, thanks very much, Stuart. They were brilliant, weren't they? What a pair. Now, Maghull Station is a quiet stop on the Merseyrail network. It's also a finalist, get this, in the World Cup of Stations competitions. So, what has it done to deserve that? Well, Ian Haslam went to find out.
The world's full of impressive train stations, be they in Mumbai, Porto in Portugal, St Pancras International in London or Grand Central Station in New York. And here's another to add to that list, potentially, Maghull Station. It's hoping to be crowned Britain's best. But what makes it so special, I hear you ask?
We really want to win. This part of the network really is a nice part of the network and it deserves all the kudos it gets. It's the heart of the community, and since we've opened the coffee carriage, it's created a place for people to meet, greet and eat, basically. A lot going on.
A lot of rhyming there as well. I mean, people tend not to hang around train stations, but people tend to hang around this one.
Yeah, I mean, you always see on the weekend, they've got like a community group as well, so there's always people here planting flowers, that kind of thing. The coffee shop's always really busy. Yeah, it seems like a nice place to be.
Anne, are you a regular at this station?
I am, yes. The staff are very friendly, very helpful. The trains are prompt, they're clean and tidy. And the flowers, they always win prizes for all the flowers.
Yeah.
And the cafe, if you miss your train, go and have a coffee or a bacon balm.
Are you on commission, Anne?
No, I go in every Tuesday.
Voting's now underway in the Best Stations Grand Final, with Maghull up against Kings Lynn and Dorridge stations.
We have been named the jewel in the crown of Maghull, to quote someone. So yeah, very pleased with that little title. It's a competition that gets run annually. We are in the running against some really, really big names. So yeah, it's a fantastic title to be offered.
But to get that title, they need votes.
Can you vote more than once?
I don't know.
I voted for it the other day for the semi-final.
I think you've got to vote again for the final.
I've done it again for the final, and Sheila's just done it now.
I've just done it now.
very friendly, very unique.
Is it the best in Britain?
Yeah, well, I think so. I mean, all the ones we've seen, it's you know, it's got the atmosphere and all the rest of it.
Just so homely and cosy and friendly. It's just lovely.
Voting in the World Cup of Stations final closes at midnight, with the winner announced on Tuesday. Ian Haslam, BBC North West Tonight, Maghull.
Oh, good luck. We're going to be talking about railway stations again in a moment. But first, let's get the weather for the weekend. Simon?
Hello, good evening. We've got some fairly decent weather for the weekend. Actually, it's quite mixed. We had some sunshine this morning. It felt quite pleasant in that sunshine, but we had a bit of rain moving its way in as well today. So let's have a look at see what happened and where we go over the weekend. For today, well, as I said, some sunshine, temperatures above the average for the time of year, so very pleasant out there for many of us. We did see, though, a bit of rain moving its way eastward, and that has now started to clear away to the east. But if you look behind me, we've got another band of rain that's going to slowly move its way in, and it's just moving its way into the Isle of Man as we speak. So for the rest of this evening, some heavy pulses of rain moving through. There could be some gusty winds associated with that as well. It will continue to move its way eastward, so by the early part of Saturday morning, most of that rain would have cleared away. There could be a bit of mistiness over the Pennines, and overnight temperatures down to about 10 to 13 degrees Celsius. But then during Saturday, that band of rain does finally clear away to the east, and then for most of us, a dry day with some sunshine. A bit of fair weather cloud building up. We may just see the odd shower passing through, but for most of the day, it's going to stay dry. And again, it'll feel quite pleasant where you've got the sunshine and some fairly light winds. Maximum temperatures 13 to 15 degrees. But then it's all change for Sunday, because if we look out to the Atlantic right now, it's this area of cloud here, which doesn't look like too much at the moment. But as we go through the next 36 hours or so, we're going to see this area of low pressure really forming very rapidly. We call it explosive cyclogenesis. And as you can see, as we go into Sunday, a deep area of low pressure to the north and the west, and that's going to bring us some very wet and very windy weather during Sunday. So stay tuned to the forecast, because it could be quite nasty.
Yeah, that does look nasty. It does. Now, remember the story earlier this week where we were wondering about where Paul Simon wrote his hit Homeward Bound. Was it in Widnes or was it in Warrington?
Well, Al Budge's daughter, Emma, might have the final answer. She emailed in to tell us that her dad was a railwayman in 1965 when he bumped into the American songwriter on Widnes Station.
Widnes Station, and apparently Al gave it its name as well. Homeward Bound, there it was born. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great weekend.
Bye.
Bye-bye.